Hello and welcome to Evening Rust, where we're going to start fighting against other components on the site, learning Rust at the same time. I'm edA-qa mort-ora-y, and this is my attempt to learn a bit of Rust. It's going to help me with my own language a bit, to get some ideas for it, and learn how they do some things. And we'll also be doing coding game at the same time, just because we need something fun to do. If you're new to the show, hi, thank you for watching. If you want to chat during the show, feel free. If you have comments on my Rust as to help me out, that would be wonderful, because we're still quite new at this Rust thing and we're going to make lots of mistakes, but that's okay. Last time, let's go over here. We've generally been over in this practice area. We have been doing just a bunch of simple practice things. We did a lot of the basic ones. We haven't finished it off because they just got a little bit too boring without graphics, and several of the medium ones. The Mars lander we're going to come back to at some point when I decide to do it offline, because there is a bit of trigonometry, or not trigonometry, there's a bit of estimation in there that wouldn't be so much fun for me to do live. I need to paper. The war one we haven't quite completed because we can't figure out the requirements. There's a ambiguity in them, and I didn't feel like going through all the possibilities of what they mean. But we're going to leave this practice section and we're going to move over to this compete section, I think. And what the compete section has are several things where we have to try it. Now I know Sasha there really wants to try the hard puzzles, but I want to start some of the compete ones today and do one of the bot ones because I know they have graphics and we want to see the graphics. We'll come back to the hard one the other day after we've beaten one of these. So I've looked around, and for the bot programming I can't know which one. There was one that had a little road. I think it was the Mad Max one, or Crota's Strike Back. No, I think it was Mad Max. Let me check. Not Platinum Rift. I want to start with an easier one, because, again, this is the first one. Really don't know what we're doing. There's a little road. Not that one. Oh man, where is this one? Maybe it wasn't bot programming. Maybe it was optimization. Could be optimization. Let's see what one we had here. Oh man, I can't remember the one. There was like a little road and a bridge and I had to jump over stuff. It wasn't Code versus Zombies. Or was it? No, it wasn't that one. So it must be... Or wasn't there contests? So many of them, it's hard to find. Or, no, it wasn't a contest. I don't know, so much of it. I don't know which one I would try. I want to try something easy. Definitely not Code Golf. That's something we already agreed is not going to be succeeding with Rust. So let's go into bot programming. And I don't even know which one it was, but let's just pick a different one then. None of them are the ones I actually looked at. And there's one that doesn't involve flood filling. I've done that so much. Distance, drones management. Whatever, let's start with this one. What does its graphics have? Does it have something fun? Okay, this one looks hard. Looks like there's a lot for us to do. I hope we don't jump into that thing right away. Let's see what the simple basic one is, and we'll compete a small little buggy. Let's join this one, and because I have no idea which one is that before that I actually want to do. I don't really want the multiplayer one, but we're going to go for it because I can't find the one I wanted. Okay, gather more water than your enemies. Simple enough. The game is played on a circular map with 3 players, each spawning with a Reaper. Players move simultaneously and compete to gather water from the wreck of tankers. Circular area of radius 6,000. Okay, we got that. Does it say it anywhere? Yeah, I assume we're going to have lots of optimization here. Let's stick this in here, radius equals 6,000, just so we have this in code. Yep, I imagine the top guys are doing some amazing stuff. I'm just going to start with the basics here. Shall we join the clash? Oh, it went away. Let's join the clash. I don't know what it is, but we'll get interrupted. Flash, does that mean we have to go really fast? Let's see what this is. I usually suck at these. But I just want to solve it. We get points either way. If somebody wants to interrupt us, they can. We'll wait for the player, and then we'll get back to the other one. And the last time we did okay with the speed, but it depends on the puzzle. If this puzzle has to involve something on Rust we don't know, then we're going to have a problem. And if it's something we do know, then we should be okay. Clash starts. It's waiting for player. And, well, let's make a mention of the fact that I'll be doing this live. They like this stuff. Some people like it, some people don't. Just copy this over. Oh, there's Sasha. I highly doubt Sasha's going to copy my answer because they're using a different language and I usually don't win, so there's really no value to watch and copy me. But we'll see it happens. Waiting for one more player. And we've done a few of these. 2 of them, precise, and came in third in one. It was a speed one. And a lot of copy and paste. And the other one was obviously, it was a golf optimization. So the golf one was really, there's no way we're going to win that in Rust, I think, compared to the other languages. And we have edA-qa in here as well. Interesting. So what do we have? Lowest code size. Oh crap, it is a golf one. That's what flash means. So we can take our time. We can try to minimize this. A pair of integers which are the coordinates of the points in question. What do we want to do? On a Cartesian plane, given a point of coordinates a, b, and n circles, each circle is specified with a center coordinate x, y, and its radius r. Calculate how many circles contain the point a, b. Note, the point is counted if it is either inside or outside the circle. Inside or on the circle. Okay. Pair of integers a and b, which is the coordinates of the point in question. A line n, which is the number of circles. 3 integers are the coordinates of a circle, center, r, and its radius. A single integer, which is the number of circles that contain point a, b. Alright, so we can count this directly. So I'm going to say let count with c equals 0. This line alone is probably already longer than what you'll have in some of the other languages. So we have the a and b, and we have the number we have to find. And really all you need for this is you need to find the distance from AB to the center of this circle. And so the distance of that is going to be, well, let's make it the diff first. And this is where it's going to really hurt us that I don't know all the math stuff in Rust, sorry. Can I make these float, or there's double or something? I don't even know if there is a double type. We're going to find out. We're going to say let diff equals... Alright, I gotta do the distance. This is going to be really annoying. It's just going to be the distance. Let's just call it something like this. So we have to do a minus x, because that's the coordinate. A minus x times a minus x. That's going to be squared. Plus b minus x times b minus x. This is also squared, and we need the square root of this. Or we don't really have to. We can simplify it, and we can simply say if distance is less than r times r, so we don't have to look at the square root, then c plus equals 1. We're within that distance there. And then we'll do a print line. What do we want to print? We just want to print the number. So we're suffering a lot for a lot of these things, but let's see if this actually works. That's the only thing I really care about right now. Double. The way to figure out what the Rust double type is going to slow us down. Rust double type, probably just a float. Data type, so there we go. What do we have as data type? This is probably just F or something. Floating points. Where is a floating point type? F64. Alright, let's do that. Don't really like the names. These are very architecture dependent. It is possible to have architectures that might have a faster float type, but I'll not worry about that right now. Did you mean print line exclamation? I did indeed. Unused macro definition, that's fine. The trait. Oh, this is getting really hard to read here. Can we get rid of this stuff here? Okay. Alright, so these should be floats as well. So this will be F64. F64. Let's just do it that way. Okay, so we had success. On a circle, expected 2, found 5. I guess this distance is less than or equal to. On a circle is actually going to be really mean. I mean, what floating point accuracy are you going to be using here? Yeah, but we're doing something totally wrong anyways here. On a circle, 2, 5, 2, 5. Let's reduce this. We're getting this really wrong here. This is xy, so we have the distance to x squared. This is the distance. Oh, well, that would really be helpful if we put y here instead of x. I don't know why the first one worked. Okay, so we have the code working, and now let's try to see if we can at least reduce this in some way. The print line, we don't have a print error, so let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of this stuff. And I don't know how we're going to reduce this crap here. I mean, how am I supposed to get rid of that? And this is like going to be a real pain in the ass to get this any smaller than it is. I'm wondering if you should even try or just go on. Like, this is where if I had a Rust person, I might be able to get a bit smaller, but this parse input is like really tiny. And I mean, you could do stupid stuff like this. Let's just do P, P, P. This will at least reduce it a bit. But this is like an abuse of macros, and I really don't like this usually, and it's one of the reasons I don't do well at Code Golf, because I don't like most of the stuff you have to do to get it tiny. So if we just call this P, and it reduces it very little, right? 922. I expect the winning one's going to be around the line of like under 100, no problem. And I'm guessing Ruby based on who I'm competing against. And is there anything else we can do here that's really small? Input line, input line. Well, we don't need a second input line here, I think. We already have one. Oh, and it fails, though. So yeah, something went wrong with the input line. We have 2 of them, and it fails. And yeah, I don't want to spend too much time in this. Let's just say we did it. Let's play all the test cases. We have 927. We have them here, and I don't know easy ways to do this, to reduce this in Rust without a lot of help or with a lot of work. So let's just submit this, and we'll just take our chances of where we are. We don't need to win this here, and let's put our feedback. Please don't give me Flash/golf puzzles with Rust. And was this fun? Sure, why not? This, well, exciting. It was fun. Difficulty. What am I rating? Am I rating the difficulty of getting it tiny, or am I rating the difficulty of solving the problem? So let's just put it right in the middle, because I don't know what it says. The statement was clear enough. Test case relevancy. Well, it seemed good. I have no idea. Tested our code. And I didn't actually face problems with the issue. And since the other guys are going to be reducing it to no end, so we can just simply move on. And there's no way we're going to come first. If all these guys actually submit something, I'm assuming we'll come dead last. But that's okay. Let's go. The other one that shows we had from last time, we had an issue with match, and I posted it over to the Rust users. And we had this set up with match where I was matching something, and I forgot a cell type. And all this match compiled, and we had no errors or no warnings that we thought, but it was doing the totally wrong thing. So the guys over, the users at Rust, they confirmed that what was happening is when I say like empty matches here and empty doesn't have anything, it introduces a new symbol called empty. And Eminence's example here was very well, I think, match my number, and shows how x becomes a value over here. And so that's why ours was not working. But they say they should have gotten errors or warnings, but we didn't, because I confirmed that coding error, it just hides them. When you compile successfully, it just hides all the warnings. There's no way to get at them. So we're going to take this deny warnings in the future, and we're going to copy this, and I'm going to put it in my cheat sheet. We're going to use this for a lot of things, and we're just going to say that all the warnings have to become errors, which might be a problem with the macros, because the macros will get a warning on those, but we'll figure out what that means, how to get rid of that later. So let's go back to Clash, and let's go back to Compete. And where were we on this thing? I think it was, no, it was a practice, sorry. And yeah, we were on mean max. And we wanted to, was this the one we were doing? Yeah, it was. Let's go back and do this one. Let's go into the mean max and see what we're doing here. And the first goal is we're just wanting to get started here. Gather more water as the enemy. We have this radius. It lost our code, which is not nice of it. Remind me in the future to copy out the code. Because that was an F64. We'll just do everything as floating points. The Reaper harvests 1 water unit per turn from each wreck it finishes the turn in. Your Reaper can XY throttle to accelerate towards XY. Okay? Every turn your Reaper must either XY to accelerate or it has to wait. That seems simple enough. We only lose if we don't respond in time, okay? Your Reaper has a radius of 400. That's a bit weird. And accelerates by throttle divided by mass. At the oh man, they're making this really difficult here. At the end of each turn, friction is applied as vector friction. Positions and velocities are rounded. The collisions are inelastic, and the entire physics engine is detailed in the referee on GitHub. Oh wow, these games get really challenging. So let's just try to get anything. To harvest a wreck, the center of the Reaper must be in the wreck at the end of the turn. If the Reaper is in multiple wrecks, it will harvest 1 unit of water from each wreck. If multiple Reapers are in the same wrecks, all Reapers will harvest 1 unit of water, even when only 1 unit remains. Input for the game. The first 3 lines are the integer score of each player in order of your ID. You are player 0. Okay, I guess I'm player 0 always. An integer, placeholder for the next leagues. Next 3 lines. Okay, so we have 3 more lines of junk to read. An integer unit count. Next, unit count lines. Unit type ID, player ID, mass raise, blah, 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 blah. Lots of stuff we have to read. Lots of stuff. Okay. Now, and unit type. Reaper or wreck. There's only 2 types here. So we're a Reaper. And we want to go towards the wreck. But only for the players that are ours. For the Reapers. And we're going to ignore the other players then. So the first thing we're going to do is going to read all this stuff into a state model, and I guess we're going to create a structure for this. We'll read this into a straight model and then do it somewhere that will output what we want. It's like we'll take a similar approach to the Bender one. We'll create the state and then start doing anything. For each Reaper, 2 lines of wait. Well, let's see what happens if we just run this one. Let's play my code. Let's see how poorly we do. So I just sit around here like an idiot. And the other players are obviously collecting stuff. And the wrecks move, which is really kind of interesting. And so they filled up with water and we lost. Because we didn't move. We did absolutely nothing. And I think we got a notification. Let's see if it keeps this. We have this here. Let's find out if I go to these notices here. No, I don't want to join a clash now. I'll come and join a clash later. Kika. I really want to see if I can solve the basic one here. So we're going to create this straight state first here. And I'm just going to call it state. And actually, let's call it state definition. And we're going to do impulse state definition. Do we need this even? Probably. We'll find out. And we'll probably have a function called new. I think these we call them static function new. And how did we write these last time? It takes no parameters, but it returns a state definition. And it'll take ownership of it. And we are going to do... Oh wait, so the standard was I told last time is types are camel case, and everything else is underscore case. Really wacky, but we'll deal with that. Okay, so what do we have in here? We have, for each state, we're going to need a reaper as well. So we're going to start creating this reaper structure. So let's have a reaper. And what does a reaper have? Or maybe we should just have a unit type. Or let's learn how to do inheritance. We can do that. We can do struct unit, and we'll figure out how to do inheritance in Rust, if there's such a thing. Rust inheritance. Not blood inheritance, Rust inheritance. How to do composition over inheritance. What's to inherit a struct in Rust? OP in Rust. You can't do inheritance with structs. Okay. Composition. However, you can do composition with traits. See how many notified me again. What is it this time? I didn't come in dead last. Let's check that out. Let's look at my code and make sure I don't lose. Okay, well, this is really bad. Why do I lose on my code? So let's copy this, even though I haven't done anything. I think that's kind of a failure of the site. They should at least keep my code. And 85, okay, wonderful. So I said it'd be under 100, and well, that was pretty close though. The guys didn't get, they had a hard time getting on 100. And the only reason we didn't come in last is because the other players didn't actually finish. I guess they didn't get the right code. And so we get some points for this, I guess. I don't know how much. Do we get points? Oh, no points. Do we get points? Yeah, Rust is, you know, Rust just isn't good for this. That says, Christian Soldiers, you're getting crushed, Rust. And yeah, it's partially my fault, I guess. I don't know, but I don't know how much smaller that can possibly get. We're going to go back to my little private little competition here and figure out how to do inheritance and stuff instead. And I guess we have to stop leaving this screen because... Oh, it remembered the second last one now. So let's put this back in. And we're going to have to figure out how to do inheritance in Rust. Well, let's check the docs at Rust and see if they actually have something about inheritance. Not those docs. Doc.rustlang.org. Okay, so do we have something called inheritance? Do we have something called struct? Do we have something called composition? No. What can we do? Nothing with there. IOOP. Smart pointers don't need that. Okay, is Rust an object-oriented language? Blah, blah, blah. I don't care. Just tell me something about composition or anything. Inheritance. You reuse. I want polymorphism. Inheritance has recently fallen out of favor as a programming design solution in many programming languages because it's often at risk of sharing more code than needs to be. Well, I'm certainly not aware of that ever happening, but they can say that if they want. That's fine. I mean, people use all things wrong, but I'm okay for a trait. Just give me an example. This is actually, I don't like docs that do this. Just give me an example of how to create something that has any form of OOP. I want to have a common definition. This is getting kind of annoying. How much do I do this stuff? Let's see. They don't have a simple example here anywhere. No example anywhere. Wonderful. Okay, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to start without this, because I should see the another example here. I don't want Rust. I want Rust. That's definitely not Rust. Okay, guys, so if anybody from Rust that works on docs is watching, you guys really need some docs on how to do this. I mean, I need an introduction just on, like, I don't need a trait, just show me how to do it. I know how to do composition. If that's the way I have to do it, then that's the way we do it. So what do we have? Each unit. Let's do composition then for now. Even though if we don't know how to do it, struct, we only have Reaper and Rec. So we have a struct Rec. And composition basically is you would always have something like this: let mut unit. I'm not actually. I don't know if this is the correct way. If this is the correct way of doing composition, I'm not in favor of it. If the language doesn't actually support it, it's annoying, but I'm not going to say it's bad now because I don't know how to do this. So what does our unit have? All units have an ID. And let's just do, no, these are, wow, I've forgotten how to do the structures. Let me just a second. Let me go back to the other code. Do we put the mut inside there? No, you just put the name because the mut's inside somewhere else. So these things are going to have an ID, and this is going to be an I32. It's an integer. And a unit type, we're going to take care of that with the subclassing. Player ID, these probably all have it. ID of the player for Reapers -1 otherwise, so this player ID is only here. And actually, you know what? I'm going to simplify this for now because I don't want to deal with this all at once. I'm just going to do it this way. Unit type I32. Or maybe we should do this struct unit or enum unit type. And we're going to have Reaper and Rec. There might be some way to associate this with the I32 and stuff, so unit type is going to be unit type. And that's all going to be okay. What I'm going to do first is I'm going to copy this over, and where is that? I'm going to go get the Bender source code. Actually, I need to open another one. Because the Bender source code had a lot of the references we needed, and we're going to reuse the same things. Where was Bender? Bender's right here. So we're going to have a lot of the same things. We're going to just view the solution here. And it's like this stuff here. We're just going to copy this. We're going to have the same thing. We're going to need to clone and copy and debug. And I don't know if we need to do all of that. We'll do the exact same with units. This doesn't have a partially. We'll ignore that. I don't know about ordering yet. Do we need to clone and copy it? Probably. And those are the main ones I wanted. Function new. Alright, so you don't need the static again. That was just because we had new state definition. Get rid of this rec. And let's look at the, what else do we have? The radius of the units. So we're going to have a mass, and mass looks like it's an F64. And radius, the radius of the unit. Why on earth is the radius an integer and the mass is whatever? We'll let them pretend that it's an integer. We're going to convert it to an F64. Two integers, the position of the unit and the speed of the unit. These are always integers again. But again, this is going to become really hard to work with, and We're going to want a point, so I'm going to copy back here. We had a point. Copy that. And so we had a position, which is a point. And we're going to rename this uppercase now. And the speed is also going to be a point because, you know, it's a 2-point vector. I don't know if it's the best word. Let's just call it vector 2 instead. So it's more clear. Vector 2, vector 2. And then we have the quantity of water for the Rex. Water, and this becomes an integer, I guess. That's fine. Then extra 2. Whatever. We don't need to parse that yet, but let's call it... Yeah, we don't have to parse that yet. So for each step, we're going to parse all of these things. And these units are really kind of annoying. There's a lot of units here. So let's make a... In each loop, create a vec of unit. Make sure I call it right, unit. It's vec new. I'm creating a new vector, and we're going to add them all. And I'm going to copy this down for reference because our view here is really small. Maybe if I maximize, I can see a little bit more. Okay, we can see a little bit more, not a lot. And it's inside this loop here. We're going to assign each of these. So what we need is a new unit for each of them, and what unit equals, and I guess we just say unit. Do we have to have a new function, or can I just do unit here? Or maybe I should specify it directly, and I do ID. And how do you do that again? What do we do in Bender to set that up? Colons, they're colons, okay. ID is going to be unit ID. Unit type will have to be, we're going to call it unit type to fit their convention. And for now, if we just don't recognize it, we're just going to say if unit type equals, what was the meaning of this? 0 for a Reaper and 4 for a Rec. We're going to say 0. Then we're just going to say unit type Reaper. Otherwise, unit type Rec. And why was there a unit in there? That was weird. Oh, it's because we're doing the composition thing. Okay. Good. So then we have player ID. I'm going to make these all the same convention. And this becomes player. Mass becomes mass. That's fine. And radius becomes radius as F64 because we parsed. Well, actually, just parsed it as F64. It won't hurt anything that way. And position is going to be point and x comma y, I think is the correct thing. And we'll parse these all as F64 just to make the math later because it's going to get mad at us if we do anything else. Position and speed. And water is going to be extra. We don't know what that is. We'll assume it's for all of them. And so we have a unit, and we may not be immutable. In theory, we should be able to print this now. Print line. That's why we put the debug flags on it. Question like this or something, I think, was a unit. So let's print off each unit and see what happens. And I really hope we see the output somewhere. Okay, and it is like really super tiny here. Can I close this at all? It's It's not going to let me close this, so it's really, I don't get to see a lot here. And I think these should be commas. Okay, and this was supposed to be an I-32, of course. There's no way to stop this, so we're suffering a lot every time, or their servers, not me suffering, each time we run it. On line 97. And what does this mean here? Found unit type. Expected blah. Found unit type. Oh, these are supposed to be like this, I think. And I had to change some of these names. I'm sure I got them wrong. So unit type is like this. Player ID, and that was all of them. So let's see what happens now. Huh, 97. What's on 97? Unit type. Now what's the problem? Unit type equals 0. Is it else? Alright, this takes a really long time to compile. I don't know why. This is not so nice that our airstream just gets weird here too. Cannot find struct. It just cut off entirely. Oh, I think it still played. Oh, it's multi-agent, so this is weird. Even if ours fails, it still plays the game. That's why it's taking so long. This is going to be painful to debug. We have 101 point. Cannot find struct point. That's because we call it vector 2. So let's see what happens now. This is going to be vector 2 has n. That's not helpful. What? Field does not exist. Did you mean 0? Yeah, I did, but is it like this instead? I always forget these basics always. Been doing a lot of work on Leaf today, and well, I shouldn't say that. I've been fighting with scons a lot today, the build system that doesn't let me create symlinks correctly. And affected I-32. No, so let's just make these F-64s as well. Oh wait, so we're printing stuff. I don't know what we're printing. Can we stop? Stop, please. Stop, please. Just stop. Okay. Standard output stream. It looks like we've read it in. And this should have been print error. What do we call it? Print error. But I think we have it. We know it's there already. We get the stuff in there. And now we actually have to make it move to somewhere. And I'm thinking what we do is, first of all, let's identify our units. And we'll just ignore the other ones for now. So we have all these units, that mut units. And I think we only have our units. We say our reapers. There's also a vec of units equals vec new. We're index 0 always. So we have a few things here. We have if unit dot player ID equals 0. I think that's what it said we are. You are player 0. Okay, I don't need the score each time. Player equals ID 0, then we can say, okay, and unit dot unit type equals unit type reaper. Then we'll say our reapers push unit. Now, I mean, if it's units dot unit type, this now we want to say all the recs. Unit type equals unit type rec. Let's push it onto a recs thing. Recs dot push unit. And we'll just do it this way for now. And we're just going to want to find the closest one. Our recs. No, just all recs. We're not actually keeping track of all units right now, so just comment that out. We don't need that. So these are all the recs. And we loaded it in for all the units. We don't need to show this unit anymore, or maybe we should. Just in case, we'll write that out. And now we need to find the closest rec to where we are. And we can use a bunch of helper functions, I think, for this. So the first one we're going to do is going to find closest rec. And we're going to take the, is there a way to do type defs in this? Can I type def vec units? Maybe not. And we're going to want to give it a unit for the reaper. So the unit, and these are the recs. And we're going to give it a unit back. Now, how do we do the syntax again? We say and self and mut self. So we just take and for all of these, and these are just going to be and. We're just going to borrow a copy. They're not mutable. We have to find the closest rec. And this is exactly what we did in the contest, actually. We had to find something closest to it. And now we want to find the closest rec. And let's see how we do that. We're going to do the for each statement again, which I've been learning is not a good idea in Rust because it makes a mutable statement for 00.rex.len. What did I do? I did that in had some for loops here somewhere. I would say for H in history, that's fine. For rec and recs. Okay, and let's make a function, and we should be able to do this in unit, and I want to do a distance to a different function. So let's do an impl unit. I'm going to say function distance 2. I'm going to say and self, and which is a unit, or and that's weird, that's self, we don't have to do it, and other, which is a unit, and we're going to give back an F64 as the distance. So what we need to do is we need to do a return, we don't need a return, we just need to do a square root, however you do a square root in Rust. Square root. Oh, it looks like it's this wacky notation again, but let's go for that. Okay, so we're going to do something like this. We're going to say self. Actually, let's put this as on the vector, because these are actually vector functions. So we can start using this again. Impl vector. This is the rusty way, I guess. This is distance 2, and let's create a whole bunch of functions to help us out here. The first one we want to do is length. We'll say and self f64, and length becomes simply the length of this vector self.0 times, yeah, this is really weird, self.1 times self.1 dot square root. This is the length of this vector. And so if we make a distance 2, actually let's take this off again. Just do a subtract first of all. And other is also a vector 2, and this will return a vector 2. We'll probably need lots of these things. What we want to do is we want to say a vector 2 with self.0 minus other.0, self.1 minus other.1. That's a subtraction. Then our distance 2 becomes relatively straightforward. Do an and self and other of a vector 2. And this returns an f64. And this should become now a, if I do these traits right, I can do self.subtract. There must be a way to overload the things. Other dot length. And so the distance between two units then is a self.position.distance to other.position. And that should give us a distance to it. That'll give us a distance to the other one. And we're also going to need a vector to it pointing to the other one, and vector normalization. So we're going to take this one, I'm going to say normalize, and return a new vector 2. And we're going to build this up with like real functions. We're going to say divide, or actually, yeah, divide is fine. Let's say multiply and just do it that way. Let's do divide. We'll just do all of them to make it simple, because I think at some point we can probably write overloads for all of these things, but we'll find out. F64. This is the wrong notation up here, I noticed. I was wondering how much of this we should probably do offline and not in this editor, because they don't even give us example code anymore. So we have no choice but to do this online. Okay. So this is going to return a new vector 2 as well. So this becomes vector 2. This becomes self.0 divided by scalar, self.1 divided by scalar. And that's the value. And normalized then, we're just going to assume it has a normal. I'm going to totally ignore the case where it might not have a normal when there is no actual vector. And so this becomes self.divide by self.length. And that's how we normalize these things. That becomes a unit vector. And I don't know, maybe we should call it unit vector instead. Unit. Let's call it unit instead of normalize. So we have a unit vector. And then we can also have direction to and self and other unit. And this becomes a vector 2 as well. Well, not as well, but it's vector 2. So now we have self. So if it's a direction pointing to the other one, what we have is other dot subtract self. Other dot position subtract self dot position. And this is a vector 2, and this becomes a unit. We want the unit vector of that. So this should give us a director unit 2. and that should be enough. We're going to be compiling this for a long time. And for the rec and recs, now we want to find the distance to all of them. And what's our initial condition? Do we have optionals in Rust? I'm not entirely certain. Second. So we can do a bool here. Let bool first equal true. And when we get distance to other one, distance is going to be unit.distance to rec. And we'll say if first or distance is less than, or we need a max distance, let mut. Sorry, this is first. I think it's implicit. Let's do it this way. Bool. Min distance is an F64. We just initialize as a 0. Doesn't matter, because the first will take care of it. If it's the first one, we'll do it. Distance is less than min distance. Then we'll say Rust has option. How do I use it? Oh, that's that unwrap stuff, isn't it? If I do an unwrap. Rust option. Let's just look it up for syntax. Rust option and unwrap, because I'm pretty sure that's the unwrap stuff. There it is. Option. No, not option. Some T and is none. If it has a none value, is none. That's ref is sum. So we have is ref and is none as mut an unwrap. Good, so let's do that. I think I understand. So the minimum distance is actually going to be and this is going to be a pain here. How do I return the unit? Okay, let's just return an index. Rust doesn't really let you return borrowing stuff as far as I can tell. So let's say unit is option I32, probably, not 64. I hope this initializes 0. Okay. And at the end, we're just going to return unit.unwrap. We'll let it panic if there's nothing there. If unit dot, what do we have? What was it again? Is none. Is none. If unit dot is none, or the distance is less than the min distance, then we're going to say unit equals, again, we're going to do it this way then, I in rex.len. Unit equals I, and the min distance equals distance. So this says which one is which one we're closest to, and hopefully this says which one we're closest to. And so let's do up here, let's say the closest rec index equals closest rec. And we'll give it, what do we have? Now we have to do this for each of our reapers. So we spit out 2 extra print lines in the end, I think. We only have one reaper, sum I. Where do I do sum? Oh, okay. Down here you mean sum I? Alright. So here we're going to have to do the reapers as well. And let's do for reaper in reapers, in our reapers. Closest rec to our reaper, let's expand this again so we can see something. rex. We're just going to assume it gives us an index, and for each one of these we now want to figure out the distance to it, so we're going to say let direction equal, what do we have? We have rex, yeah, reaper.direction2 rex closest rec index. I think that's what I called it. We have it direction2 unit direction2, and we get there once we get a vec2. And so now I have this direction, that's where it's supposed to be going. We don't really know how far away it is. Let's just make it spin around like an idiot first. We're just going to do maximum throttle to each one. It's probably really bad. XY, the direction of your acceleration. Gee, I sure hope those are floating points. That'd be really silly if they weren't. So now we do a print line. X, Y, and throttle. I'm just going to do 300. Let's put it this way though, just so we have it correctly. Direction.0, direction.1, and throttle. Let throttle equal 300 F64. Now let's see if anything actually happens here. Let's see if we get a whole bunch of errors, probably. Alright, cannot find, that's fine, I spelt it wrong. Our reapers cannot find wow, I had really lots of spelling mistakes. Closest rec index. Print line, I did mean that print line. 167. Okay, this wants a reference. I always forget about these. Reference wants a reference. So it's going to want this one here. It's going to reference to our unit here. Reference to the rex. Reference to the rex. Rex, rex, rex. And let's go with that to get some new error messages. What do we have? We have cannot find rec 167. That's right. And rex I we have now because we switched to the indexing. Subtract line 30. So we have those errors. We have all the subtracting things. (30,24). What is it asking here? Mismatch types. Expected vector 2 found reference. I'm not sure what they mean. Oh, right. It's kind of annoying from the syntax that the self is and self, so we have a shortcut, but not for the other ones. Did I do that right? That'll be these ones down here as well. So this will be direction to, a reference to a unit, a reference to a unit. And let's just see what we have now. Alright, expected found to vector 2 in line 61. What do we have in line 61? So I guess we take the reference here and the reference here. And 150, what do we have in line 150? Let's closest rec index. This is probably this. I never understand where to put the and. Why does it go in different places sometimes? Probably and here. I don't know what that is. This is an and unit. Well, we have less errors now. That's good. This output's really getting annoying here. What does this thing do? They should have a pop-out thing, so I can pop out the window and The trait standard ops-in is not... Well, so 151. What did we do wrong on 151? Closest rec index is I32. Yeah. Probably a U size. 164. Alright. It can't convert a 0 to an F64. I'll live with that. No method name distance 2 at 167. No? Can't say as U size. No, that's because I had the wrong type. So unit.distance2, it says there's nothing of that type. Impl unit distance 2. No method name distance 2 found for types option U size. Ah, that's right. Can't name two things the best. Min unit, that's the problem. Now, does it do anything? And it is none. It's because I have this wrong here. Min unit. Let's start minimizing this. I think it might actually run some point here. Nope. 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 I don't care about unused variables. Leave me alone. Use of possibly uninitialized variable, 168. What do we have here? We have just how can this be uninitialized? Tell me, which one is uninitialized? MN unit. Oh, I bet I have to do none. Something like that. Let's see what Zagia says. If I got it correct. It's doing stuff. We're doing stuff. I think we're yellow. We're doing really crappy stuff. I don't think we're doing anything. We're not doing anything. We got bounced around. So what did we do wrong? What did we not output? We have... Let's see the output. What were we writing? Don't worry about the airstream. Print line. What were we writing? Okay. Whoa. What do you mean? It's expect... Oh, what is it supposed to be doing? Do we get this wrong? Am I not supposed to do the direction? Am I supposed to do... What am I supposed to output? The direction of your acceleration? I don't think it means direction. What does it actually mean? To accelerate towards X, Y. Okay, yeah, come on. So we don't need the direction, we need to know the location of it. So let's do closest rec, and then let's say let rec. We'll borrow this one. Rec's closest rec index. We don't actually need direction 2 anymore. What we just need to see is rec.position.0. Now 1. We just want to go towards there as fast as we can. It's a really weird way to say it, but that's okay. I can deal with that. Look, we're collecting stuff. We go around like an idiot. But we have actual water. So we have water. And our stupid strategy. See, I have maximum throttle here, and so you can understand that we go really fast each time. But it won't. We won. We won the simple battle. Thanks, Agyev. I'm really. I'm gonna copy this first before we lose this. We didn't have to consider optimization or anything, but we just barely won. That might be random. Let's submit it anyways. Let's see what happens. If we fail, we find out what happens with failing. And I hope it has more than one battle. And their cars appear not to be moving in that one. Why are they not moving in that one? Yeah, I believe that's what it is, Agyev. Eventually we submit these in... Oh yeah, that's why. Those are actual other people. So they weren't actually doing anything. Well, I really hope I don't win many of them then, because that would be kind of embarrassing then, right? Because I put no effort into this. I mean, all my effort was into the Rust, which is good. Did we learn something new with Rust here, or we just sort of reinforce what we did before? Can I expand this and see what we're doing? My strategy is disturbingly simple, and I don't even do throttle control, yet I seem to collect a lot. That's probably not even a... You probably can't see that very well. Yeah, full power. I didn't do full power the whole time. The 3 wood... Yeah, I'm really assuming I'm going to face more difficult challenge on the higher leagues. How many battles does this do? So some of these guys, they must have just got fed up and they submitted something and it didn't work. I was assuming I had to do something to figure out, like, at least throttle down. And based it on my current projection, which is the closest one to get to based on where I am now and my speed now. Or do we have a speed now? Or do we have, like, instant acceleration? I think we do. And we're almost done, 92%. 95%, and made it to the next league, so we're going to lose now. We have to now destroy tankers. I control 2 looters, a reaper, and a destroyer. What's a looter? The destroyer will crush tankers during collision. Tankers will water. See the updated statement for details. Okay. This is our new code. We have destroyers. Now, with the exact same code we have now, let's see what happens. Let's see if the bad guys knock the things out and we get some water. And it's really slow. That's fine. Okay, we're doing something wrong because I'm attacking my own tanker. Or whatever that thing is. So this is really bad. We got to give this one up. There's a needed way to So we have to do the other types. This is because our unit types, we only handle the 2 unit types. It's just going to do horrible things to us. And come on, you stop this and pause it. I don't need to see this. And what are our 2 new unit types? We have destroyer and tanker. So let's go add those in. Reaper, destroyer, tanker. So we're going to add this to, we're going to say our destroyers, I guess. Our destroyers are vec of units, vec new, let moots, then we have tankers, vec of unit equals vec new. Tankers, spelled correctly, would be helpful. So now we have one of these match things. We're going to do a match unit type. And I'm going to add a different one. I'm going to add unknown, just so I have a default case, and we'll just ignore those ones. Match unit type, and then we're going to say 0 goes to unit type Reaper. 1 goes to unit type Destroyer. 3 goes to unit type Tanker, unit type Tanker. 4 goes to unit type Wreck. Everything else just goes to unit type Unknown, and we're just going to ignore those ones. Unknown. And this extra value here, we have the extra tankers and the wrecks. So it's still water in both cases. The water capacity for a tanker. Alright, so we'll figure that one out as we get there. So let's say capacity is extra 2, and we'll go add a capacity field. And where is capacity? Capacity is I32. And I guess the optimal thing is we're going to let the tankers absorb water before we destroy them, but if the other people destroy them. And so now we're still going to focus on going to a wreck. We don't care. We're going to change nothing except go to a wreck and let these other ones do whatever they want. They're just going to sit in place, except we have to have an output. Two lines of the following: 3 integers for direction, acceleration, weight. Reaper, then Destroyer. You may append text to your action. Cool, let's do that. I don't think we need this error anymore. So we do the Reapers first. Go Reaper. Let's see if this actually wrote something out. And then for destroyers, in our destroyers, yeah, I forgot to add them to the list. So this one here, and I'll simplify this if unit type equals unit type dot destroyer, not dot. Our destroyers dot push units. Okay, so we have our destroyers units, recs. We don't need recs. We should probably add the tankers nonetheless. We're not doing anything with them yet. Why do I keep spelling tranker? I don't know. Tankers dot push units. Okay, and so for our destroyers, we're simply going to do weight like a lump. Supposed to write this out. We're going to find out. Let's see what happens if we do this. Response time is less than 50 milliseconds. First turn, 1,000 milliseconds. Okay, we're going to have to observe this, that the first time, this is probably to account for languages where memory management is horribly, horribly slow. Because we're allocating time, I'm assuming Rust being a system language, that 50 milliseconds for this calculations I'm doing here, 50 milliseconds is basically an eternity on any reasonable computer. But let's see what happens. I mean, let's see what errors we get first. Okay, what do we have? 141. We've got a comma at the end. Probably need a comma there too. 143. I have vect units here, and that probably messed up enough other stuff. Cannot find trankers. 165. I spelled it wrong, even though I noticed I spelled. Come on, I'm just like. Capacity mass, then you need a capacity mass. I don't know what that is. Alright, 143. What do we have here? 143, what do we say? What did I screw up here? 143. Ah, there's a comma because we're inside the statement. Unused macro, I'm okay with it. No associated item name destroy. 139. It's a destroyer. Missing fields, I think, is because I screwed up the syntax. Alright. Cannot find value extra 2. Did it not parse it from before? Extra underscore 2. We need the extra underscore in there. That's why it's all extra. That was hopefully the last error. If it was like my leaf code, I only report one at a time in a horrible format, so it's doing better than that. And I'm just going to leave it here because... Uh-oh. Ah, there's no water, so of course I'm not going to any. Oh, that's bad. I'm not going to any now either. Hey. What am I doing? My guys are doing nothing. Bad guys. Bad. Let's let them at least do something today. Reaper. We have Reapers. We must be outputting something. We'll wait for it to finish soon. Does it really have to go 402 rounds? This really needs an abort function. Like, just give up. I'm done. And for all of our Reapers, we wrote stuff out. So what do we have here? What does it look like? Oh, well, we just panicked. That's, you know, that's probably why we stopped doing anything. Yeah, I think we found the reason here. I think this big panic is probably why we're outputting nothing. We should open up 3 lines because our Reapers and our Destroyers should only have 1 item in each. Oh, and that one here too. Thank you. But I think this is, where is our problem here? Closest rec 201. Indeed, we might not actually have a closest rec anymore. Because if there's no rec around, option use size. So let's just return this unwrapped. I mean, wrapped. If closest rec index is sum, then we're going to unwrap it and do fun stuff with it. Else, let's just wait. We're not going to get excited here. Oh, we'll do nothing. We really need to wait. You see all sorts of options for strategization here. Like, I should probably follow one of the tankers around. Actually, honestly, what I should do is I should follow one of the other destroyers. So rather than destroying my own tanks, just follow one of the other destroyers and make my destroyer just knock the other cars out of the way. Hey, look at output stuff. And we go get the water right away. Good. Go Reaper. Ho-hum. Ho-hum. That's actually kind of cool. It's sum index equals closest rex. Huh. You know, I've been looking for that syntax on for Leaf as well, and I've been thinking about with this. Let's... Alright, I'm gonna leave it for now. Let's see if it runs first. I do collect water. I don't collect a lot of water. Nobody's like these things, like the computer players just continually destroy the things. Max rounds reached, and I actually managed to win that. But this is against the two stupid computer players. But let's take our options. Let's just submit this and see how awful it is. You did not test your answer. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Oh, so this looks really bad. If I actually made a syntax here. So we all sit around like idiots. Nobody else is moving. And this is still my stupid algorithm. So I'm totally unoptimized. And I would like to make this bigger, but it goes over into the right side of the screen where suddenly you guys can't see it. And they never put it high quality at least. What I never understood is why these things, why do you just have full screen? Why can't you just go to the full size of my window? Well, that one's going to time out. But I still somehow have the most water. This could take a long time. I'm going to blame the other games for taking a long time to do this. And... Alright, come on, do something. Okay, I'm going to make it big, even though you guys can't see it. You can see the left half of it, sorry, you'll see this. But you can see my comments like a lump there. And as stuff gets lucky, and I get water. Uh-oh, Paddock's going to get more. This just gets lucky, there's no water there. So they come in and they get water. I see. And they may or not get it. We're going to run out of turns on this one. So we ran out of turns, and I came in tied for second. We have a lot of battles left to go, so this is a really slow process, so like they're like punishing us for this, I guess. And I'd really like to get back to my code now. I can. Uh-oh. Well, let's copy my code. Is that a bad thing if I go back to my code? Let's save this somewhere. Source Evening Rust. Let's create a folder called Compete. And what's this one called? Mean max. Mean max.rs. Okay. So where do we actually... Got that. I don't, this is... Okay, so it just goes for a while. So I guess you could submit and keep going. I don't know the goal of that. So we are losing in some, so thankfully the strategy doesn't work. But we've won way too many of these, okay? For what we're doing, I think we're winning too often. But as somebody said, the Wood League is probably a bunch of other people doing the exact same thing, trying the very basic minimum to get by. And so it's expected we don't get so far in there. And let's check out the leaderboard while waiting. Those better than the boss will be promoted to Wood League 1 at 26. Who's better than the boss? Okay, I guess... Am I really at the top here for now? Oh, well, whatever. That's pretty sad. I guess I'm German for this game. I think I registered in Germany, so that should be fine. And coding gaming language. Is there anybody else using Rust? Wow, no. Ah, there's one more Rust down here. We have another Rust. We have a fellow Canadian. Hey, Strange Loop, you can see me, say hi. I don't know. It says the boss. Maybe that is. Maybe Furious Max is the boss. I guess the idea is that you have to consistently outperform their artificial AI. I don't know for sure. Going to the closest rec is enough to get to Bronze League. Okay, that confirms that. Well, that's good enough. We only need to get to the closest league. So we don't have to, that's good to know. So we'll just jump out of here, and then we'll start failing horribly in the next league. Is there anything else we can change in the settings here? No. Leaderboard. What, 27? Can we not go to the next lead? Come on. Are we not done? Versions don't need that. Last battles. How am I doing? 92%. I guess I don't know how many of these I had to finish. Let's watch one more of them to see how stupid I am. So these other guys are clearly getting all excited, and they basically lost the water because of that. Well, something beeped at me, so let's go see what we have. We have a notice. Better than boss. You are better than the boss. You were promoted to 1 league soon. Good, so we're going to 1 league. In 6 seconds, we will be promoted. Woohoo! We've been promoted. Let's Twitter this just for fun. Why not? What can we do now? Are there new rules? Let's check. Are there new rules? A third letter, the doof. The doof will generate rage according to its speed. The destroyer can use the rage to launch a nitro grenade. So I think we're just going to make the doof do nothing again. He's just going to run around like an idiot. But we have one more type. Skill. Well, we have a new thing here, but let's see what we have first. We have the input. That's all I care about. What's the input? Doof is number 2. Let's put them in their order. There must be some way to convert numbers directly to enums. I don't know. Probably is. We'll just do it the hard way for now. Unit type. Doof. And I guess we need to know what our doofs are again. Our doofs. Another vec unit. New. Our doofs, our doofs, our doofs. And we'll do the same thing down here. Oops. There's probably a better way to organize this, like an indexing system. That'll have to be something we learned. But the next thing I want to learn before this is I want to learn how to do the inheritance and composition. So we're going to push this as far as we can with a stupid category and then not worry about it. Then once we're done with this stupid category, we're going to fix the speed first so it at least goes correctly. Reaper, Destroyer, Doof. So we go Reaper, Destroyer, Doof. And the Doofs are going to do the same thing for Doofs for Doof in our Doofs. That should also be this one up here for Doof and Doofs. Wait, that's what he's going to do. And let's play this code to see if we can beat their little simple guy. Okay, I'll do full screen again, even though you can't really see it. We're doing really poorly here. I'm not getting any water. Okay, it's because I'm outputting something wrong. You can see most of it okay. I think this last wait line, we're outputting too much, so all my characters are getting the wrong values. Let's try that again. Alright, so now at least I'm going for the right things. So I actually get some water now. My other guys just do nothing. I still have more water than them, so it should be okay. Well, some guy just pulled in a lot of water, Angry Max. So he's no longer the simple AI, so we notice we bumped up the AI guy there as well. And they have all this rage generated. The rage hasn't helped them yet. Alright, so we beat the AI, we got it. So I don't think we're going to perform well. But Nkoyan says we should be able to get the Bronze League with just this stupid strategy, so let's submit it and see what happens. And yeah, it's like I think that's a good idea too. Very simple one. Just run in a circle. I thought it affects everybody there though. If I shoot it myself, will it actually push me away as well? We'll see. If I can make it far enough with this, I'm going to do that. There's some guy actually wrote something decent. Fire Rage. Let's check what our leaderboard is right now. Better than the boss. I am not better than the boss yet. Where am I? Okay, I'm going up the ranks here. I wonder if this is live or not. Or do I have to keep going back and forth? Well, I've been doing poorly in the last one, so I haven't been going up there. So, seriously, somebody using PHP? Let's check that again. So where am I now? Well, that's not looking good for me. So this is where we have Python 3, good. JavaScript, yeah, I can understand maybe JavaScript. C#. Well, the C# guys are not going to be winning any of the golf battles either. Java and PHP, seriously, PHP, it's not doing that bad. Maybe he got into it with web development, and that's just the one he learns the most. It's common C++. C++ and probably Rust have the advantage that we can probably do a lot more processing in the time than, say, C#, Java, or Python. Python has really high-level libraries. Dart, I actually don't know Dart. I've heard the name before, but that's it. And there's another PHP guy. A couple C guys. Okay, JavaScript, and what do we have? Anything else? Any other weird language down here? Perl. Okay, so there are some old people here around. Oh, they're just learning one in Lua. Oh, so we have maybe a game developer here. That's they're doing game AI, and they're used to Lua. Did you ever see us in the list? I don't know where we are now. See Kotlin? So there's some newer people gave up on Java, at least went to that. And F#. There is one F# guy. Well, you can get negative scores. It's interesting. And one of these people probably just gave up in their code. They submitted it, went home, forgot about it. And I don't know where I am. I was lost. We're definitely not high enough to make the next lead. We're 14. What's this thing here? 34%. And we disappeared again. So we keep going back and forth. We're definitely not getting high enough to win battles. Although we're up to 12. So we're doing not bad. It's possible we could actually just get lucky. We're not that far off, but I'm just going to let it run for a bit. And what I really need in OBS is I really need a full screen one that doesn't have the little panel on it. I wonder if I can do that easily. No, okay. These are a lot of battles. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. If you take the destroyer to the closest tanker. I was actually thinking of following the tanker. I just want to see how far we get this, if we actually get close enough. It might be enough just to fix my Reaper to not overshoot the water, just go to the middle of it and wait there. Okay, I'm going to let this run, and I'm going to take a short break. And I'll be right back with the short break. Let's just put this full screen so you see something there. There you go. I'll be right back. Okay, where are we? Are we doing any good? I don't think we're doing any good. So we finished a few battles. My guys are talking. Opponents are following some random tanker. And that kind of makes sense. Well, not random. I think you'd follow the guy that's closest to the middle. So let's predict where the next guy is going to be and go there. That's like a simple approach. Just follow a tanker and, or more importantly, follow a tanker that's being followed by a destroyer. Are we actually going to get anywhere here? Okay, look, we actually get pretty high, so we can get fairly lucky here. But we're not close to 19. This is really, getting up to 19 might be very difficult. But the rank keeps going up, and I'm wondering how that actually works. It's just like a total number of games I win, so as long as I keep winning, will I actually go up in the leagues? I don't really know how that works. Anybody know how it actually works? Because when it's 16.8, that's quite a jump. So what are the other people doing? They give up on their code. Okay, so we have a big mix. Where's our next one to go to? History, what do we have? Oh, that's that. I'm 100% Smith. Does it keep going? Or do I have to have that number of games? Like if I take more than 100%, does it if at any point I get above the boss, do I win? Or is it 100%, do I get a cutoff? Because I don't think I'm going to get there. I think I need to win a few more. But if this kept going, I would eventually get there. And kind of a cheap way to do it, though. And so all these ones without arrows... Okay, the ones without arrows, I guess these guys just gave up on their code and decided to fix it. And so, yeah, there's no arrows near the bottom. So these people aren't really doing bad. They just didn't do their code yet. They just gave up on it. And we're still going up, but does that mean... Yeah, this is what I don't know. Does it mean if I eventually reach him, do I win, or do I have to actually do it within 100%? Last Battles TV. So I think it keeps playing. Or maybe not. Just done. Don't know if it's done or not. Alright, so we're not going to get much higher, and I'm going to assume that without knowing for sure what the rules are, we're not going to make it to Angry Max. We're actually going to have to fix something, even though we're kind of at top. Well, let's let that run. I don't know what that does. And now let's start fixing something here. I'm wondering if I should actually fix some of the rust to have different types, but it's not really necessary. We don't have anything complicated enough to do that. Because speed's eventually a problem, let's just fix these out a little bit first of all, so at least our vectors are clean each time. I hope there's a clear function. Our destroyers, our doofs. Tankers.clear, Rex.clear. Okay, so let's take the what Zaglev said first. If we take a doof, how do they work again? The doofs, the deuce. The looters. No, I want the doof. What does a doof do? I was assuming we get more than one Reaper in some of the advanced versions. Don't we? That's why I set up those. I assume eventually we get multiple units of each. Or do we really only ever have one? Each spawning with 3 looters, Reaper, Destroyer, and Doof. I don't know. Do we ever get more than one? No, you have max 3 units, so I don't need this hour. I can really simplify this. Alright. As long as I don't have to go on and do this. Good, now let's simplify that as well. And our Reaper is a unit. Our Destroyer is a unit. It doesn't need to be initialized, I think. It's going to get mad at us if we don't initialize them, isn't it? Tankers and Wrecks are there, and our Doof is a unit as well. And it's probably going to say something about not initialized, but I don't care. We'll figure that one out. I'm going to say our Reaper equals unit. It can take its ownership. It's going to whine at us though. If I take ownership here, then something else is going to take ownership again as well. So we're going to have to put else's in here, so it can only get to one of them. Else, if unit type, then we're going to say our Destroyer. Else, if unit type, our Doof equals unit. Else, if it's a Wreck, we can push the Wreck. Else, if it's a unit. Else, we just don't care what happens to it. So we don't need this. Our Reapers. We have a Reaper. Our Reaper. And okay, and we don't have a Destroyer, so this is the Destroyer. Destroyer. Doof. Let's see if this compiles at least first, now that I screwed it up. Okay. Cannot find value our Reapers. Shouldn't need to anymore. Yeah, we don't need those anymore. Tankers and Wrecks we're going to clear. And play it again. Our Doofs, where do we have our Doofs still? Our Doof equals unit. That was it. And I have some error here. Our variable, unused mice. I don't care about all of these. Where's my error? Just tell me where my error is. Okay, and this is exactly what I was fearing. Now, these units need a default. Is it going to complain that we haven't initialized all the values? What we could do is we could make them an option and then just unwrap them, but I don't want to do that. So you can't actually do this. You can't initialize. Are there really no default values in Rust? Can somebody confirm that? Is there really... Can I not... When I say a unit here, is there no way to just initialize it as all the default units? New dummy. And we're just going to do unit. Because this seems a little bit counterproductive. ID -1. Unit type is a unit type unknown. Player ID equals -1. Mass equals 0. Come on. Radius equals 0. They have a lot of details here about this stuff. Can I? Well, before I finish this, let's find out. That actually works. Default. How do I create a default import? Let's just make this one have a default as well. How do I specify the default of an unknown? Let's find out. Rust default. Is there a default here somewhere? No. Default. 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 Self. Okay. Default, 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 default. Alright. I don't know about that. That was a different one. Go away. I don't look at default because in this case I actually may not want a default, but how do I implement default? Oh, that's the one I wanted. This is our first actual trait then. For unit type. Unit type. Unit type unknown. So if I just derive default from here, and then down here, if I do unit default, something like this. Alright, it's taken a long time to compile this. Vector 2 needs a default as well. That makes sense. So, import default for vector 2. So vector 2, and this becomes vector 2, 0, 0. Come on. Mismatched types. Oh, come on, I hate that. Something I should mention that in Leaf, these things work. When you type a 0 or a constant in Leaf, it's something that's a rational type. And I actually don't give it a fixed type until you actually convert it to something. And then I actually check if it actually works. Yes, you're quite right. Default. That makes more sense. So how do we actually create the default now, though, is the second one. It's a lowercase default. 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 Alright, so our guys still sit around like idiots. That's fine. We just did an optimization. We have the one thing, we have one user. And we'll go back to, I think it was Zeglev or whoever said it now, that we're just going to run the doof around like an idiot just to build up power. And every time he has enough power, we're just going to shoot somebody. We can shoot at random, but we should probably choose the guy with the highest score and see how this doof works first, though. We have, actually, let's, alright, so they have more things. Reaper, doof, generates rage at the end of each turn, velocity. So he just wants to have a very high velocity. And how we're going to optimize his velocity, ideally he'd be in a circle on the outside of the map, and we have to get him to the outside, but he's going to be bounced around. So I think we should probably be a little bit careful with that. And though it doesn't really matter what circle he's in, does it? So let's see if we can get him moving first. So when he hits the edge, what happens when the guys hit the edge? They just bounce off, or what actually happens? And we could actually choose like an optimal amount here. Instead of trying to calculate perfectly, we can say the doof is always trying to move to a particular point on the circle. And they have a maximum speed, I think. Do they have a maximum speed? 300. And what does 300 mean? That means 300 units per round. And so what we can say is that, do we have a time input anywhere? We have no time input, so let's just do a time input. Let's just say let mutable time equals 0. And we'll say each one of these is 1 second. And at the end of the loop, we'll increment the time. Time plus equals 1 F64. I'm just going to make this F64 again so we can just do the multiplication. And the radius of this thing is 6,000. It's really high. Did we confirm that again? Okay. Alright. So what we have is we have a target destination each time. This is going to be based on the time. So the actual angle is going to be let target angle be equal to, how much do we have? We have time times radius actually, no, I need to know the step. The radius is 6,000. How much angle does it have each time? So let the circumference be equal to 2 times radius times pi. Pi, what was pi again? We used pi once. Floating point default. Pi. I know there's a way to use this. Pi F65. I don't remember how to use it though. F64 consts. Pi? Pi. 2 times the radius times pi, that's circumference, and so max throttle equals 300. We don't actually know the speed. So let's do this roughly first. So we actually have if we have that divided by the circumference. Okay. So I want the circumference divided by the throttle. I'm just guessing these values mean that, times the time. So we're going to say he should be at this point of the circumference each time. Where are we actually going to be along the circumference? And this is going to be a fraction. And we're going to convert this back to 2 times f64 const pi. And so let tx equal target angle dot cosine. And this is in the middle. 0, 0. No, it's right in the middle. 0, 0. That's perfect. Times radius. Let ty equals target angle dot sine times radius. And we'll make the doof always moving at maximum speed because we don't care about anything else. Tx, comma ty. Let's see if we got these constants right. I'm going to find value throttle on 205. Max throttle is what we want. And to be fair, we should make this max throttle since we already have the constant. And what do we have? Cannot find pi. Now this is the one we had before. Did anybody remember how you actually look up pi in Rust? It's a capital pi is the first one. Type ascription. Alright. I don't remember how to use pi. We looked it up once before. Did I actually put it in my notes? I should have. I screwed it up, I think. I should have had it in my cheat sheet. We did not have pi here. It was in one of the examples we figured out how to use pi. No, that's not helping me. This is not helping me either. Consts. Pi. How do I get to pi? Where am I using pi? Well, first that's wrong. Oh, maybe it's just I have that wrong. Sorry. I might just be missing a bracket here. Okay, now we have more errors. Macro, trait bound, integer, burp, bop. I just, this. I'll reserve my comments a bit more on that, but. 2f64. 2 times radius. Specify the type, ambiguous associated type. Where? How can it be ambiguous? It's an F64. I don't know what that means. How do I use a constant in Rust? Rust, constant F64. No, that's not going to help me. That's not going to help me. F64. So you don't actually use the const bit. Alright, fine. Do you just do x50 or pi? Did it compile? Is it doing something? No, of course not. No associated with pi. Oh, come on. They have to use the constant somehow. How do I use a constant? Use standard 64, F64. Is this really... We had to use constants before. I don't remember how. No, come on. Const, maybe. Unused imports. Fine with that. Alright, so I still don't know how to use this stupid pi. You'd think they'd give one example somewhere, please, of using pi, but they don't. Does anybody remember how to do it? How you actually use a constant in Rust? Pi, something, anything. Give me some documentation. Some documentation on how to use a constant. Let's look at the docs. Are there constants in here somewhere? Constants are not in the docs, and no target for it. Math in here? There's no do math in there either. Here looks like an example. Is there a pi here? Pi? Const pi? Just getting confusing. Why would it be const pi, not F64 pi? Const pi. Let's see if we get one less code. Error at least. Anything. Some feedback. Okay. So the pi got a bit further, so that appears to be the way to do it. I don't understand how it knows us to use 64 one, but that's okay. Unused, cannot find target angle, 206, 208, so we have errors here, 206. Count, expect expression, found keyword, const. So these are consts. Now what do we have? No implementation for divided by integer, so that's the issue there. Max throttle is F64. Everything has to be F64. Means you get a little verbose for math. It's okay. Right, it looks like it's actually doing something. Which one is my doof, though? He is. I don't have labels on the screen, so I've done something wrong. I broke. That's what's happened. I'm guaranteed I got a panic or something. I didn't. No, here it is. Wait, skill. Ah, stupid thing again. As I32. I32. Why can't they just parse floating point? Is it really so much work for them to parse floating point? Okay, so my duh, he's doing duh of some kind. It's going right to the middle, though. And he's not building up. So obviously we've got the calculation wrong here. It's taking him too long to get. He's going some places way too fast. And he should be filling the outside of the circle. So I've done that wrong. So we've got to get it moving right instead first. It's like moving way too fast. Like every single time he goes somewhere else. So the circum divided by max throttle. We don't actually know. It should be max speed. Let's just say max throttle. And this is circumference. So let's get the circumference right again first. It's 2 times the radius times constant pi. We hope this is correct. We had issues with pi once before that maybe it's not the right one. Max throttle. Print error. C is this, and that should be fine. Let's just see what the circumference is in case that's wrong. But circumference times radius, 2 times 6,000, 12,000, 24,000 divided by 300. It doesn't make sense. He's going too fast for these values. So we're going to get the circumference out of there. And target angle equals circumference divided by max throttle times time. So there's a fragment. So every circumference divided by, we can go a step the max throttle. And whatever times time it is, time the constant pi. So we take this as a fraction of the total times stepping in time, time the constants. Hello IKSF. We're trying to steal water with our robots here, and I'm trying to figure out why my little doof, he's supposed to be running in a circle as best as possible, but he's not doing that. He's doing something silly. Okay, I have to see what the value for circumference is. Something's being calculated wrong. What are we doing? Come on. It takes like so long to compile and start these things now. You just pause this. I want to see the output here. 37,000 is circumference. Okay, that looks about right. Divided by 300, just max throttle, should be 100. We have 100 units. Oh. Should have it the other way. You know it fastest. So let's see if you can go around in a circle right now then. Let's see if he does anything. So my edA-qa guy is, he's moving not very well. Moving kind of like an idiot. Now he shouldn't be bouncing around the side like that the whole time. This would imply he's always trying to go somewhere out of the board. Oh, he has a radius. His side probably can't be in the radius. But I have full power. So let's leave it like this, and let's leave the full power. So we know he's bouncing like an idiot because he's going too far because of his radius. So we'll try to fix 2 things at a time, and every time he has power, let's just shock somebody close by. And so these things have their own radius as well. What would we call it again? Each unit has a radius as well. So let's see if that actually helps. Not times this radius, but times radius times minus our doof.radius. So he's always within the map. He's always going to try to go there. Now an optimization here would actually be, instead of just following this time-based cycles, we should actually figure out where he is currently. What angle is that currently, and just start from there and just keep stepping around there. But let's just fire every so often. Whenever we have power, what does this actually do? We can do a skill. And what does the skill do? Destroyer. The nitro grenade center is the center of a vehicle. This vehicle won't be affected by the nitro grenade. So we're going to shoot it on our own vehicle. Let's just always shoot it on our vehicle. How often can we use the nitro grenade? Why would I not use it all the time? The nitro grenade can affect the destroyer itself. That's fine. Rage. What does rage do? Rage. For 60 rage. Well, whatever. Every time we have more than 60 rage, let's shoot the thing out. Do we read rage in at any point? The rage of each player. My rage. So we have my rage. Right. So, if my rage is greater than 60, what does it cost? Then we're going to use the skill. And we're going to target our guy. Skill, and we're going to put it directly on top of our Reaper. Because it said it won't actually target him. So Reaper.position.0 Reaper.position.1. And so this should ideally push everybody else away, and we're going to see what it does. Oh yeah, because it's our Reaper. Our Reaper. Our Reaper. I really just want to get this good enough to get past this league. We're so close, and our doof. Yeah. 213. Our doof radius. What happens if it doesn't? I'm just assuming it doesn't fire if it's not in range. I just shoot. If it's not in range, it just shoots like an idiot, or it doesn't shoot at all. So he's not shooting. Oh, he was when he was close. And we're getting some more water, but he's not really shooting very often. Okay. So what do we want to do with that? He's shooting and... Well, maybe you're correct. Maybe we should check the range to our Reaper and we figure out who should we be fighting to. So, we're going to do this. We're going to say if he's close enough to our Reaper, because we have a max range to the Reaper of... What's the max range for the grenade? Grenade... 2,000. The Reaper distance is going to be... Let's give these longer names so we remember what they are. Reaper distance equals our destroyer distance to our Reaper. So if the range was in 2000, and this is the range of it, if Reaper distance less than or equal to 2000, and we should probably do exactly 2000 so we don't worry about the integer ones. Then we'll shoot to the Reaper. Else, who do we shoot to? We should probably do a borrowing here too. Let's do our destroyer then. We'll just launch it inside of ourselves. Let's see if this makes it. Let's see if this actually does something interesting. No. I spelled Reaper wrong, of course. Reaper. Our Reaper is line 205. Our Reaper. Reaper distance, our Reaper. Slowly compiling. It's getting late. It's getting tired, so I'm speaking a little bit less. I want to see what happens. I really just want to get by this league. I'd like to finish on us winning it, but... Alright, so he launches on himself sometimes, which is good. Anytime we hit 60. Not very helpful. We could probably make him move towards me. He was clearly within range that time, so that's a bit weird. You know what? These things move to the middle. So let's try a really stupid strategy. Let's keep him right in the middle. 0, 0, 300. Let's move him right to the middle all the time and see if that makes a big difference. Because he'll always be relatively close to my thing, and if he's not, it'll knock other people away from the middle. Otherwise, we should knock the other people around. So he just sits in the middle now spinning, you can see that. Not really helpful though. We do collect some water, not very well. Maybe we should just stick by my... He's collecting more, though, than everybody else. if he ever launches it correctly. It never seems to actually launch on top of our Reaper. Like, we should be within range sometimes. Okay, well, let's just see how we do with this. I mean, let's move. Let's just stay within range of our Reaper, but I'm going to bounce it around then like an idiot. So let's just submit this and see what happens. All we need to do is we need to do that a little tiny bit better than we did before, and we don't know if these bombs are going to do that or not, though. We might just get lucky instead. And we're having very questionable progress here. We have almost a pattern that's like almost random. Uniform distribution random. And let's see where we start in these things. Do we start right at the bottom? Evening. So we're pretty far down. We're not doing very well at all. I think our new strategy is actually making it worse. Okay. So I think we're doing worse now than before. Well, some of them are doing alright. But this is probably not fast enough to get us to the winning thing. So let's let that run and see how we do. And what else can we do that's a relatively quick strategy? We're building up rage fast enough. And maybe instead of having the dove run in a circle, we should have the dove run to the guy with the highest score. Just always interfere. Whatever the guy with the highest score is, just go smash him. Because we'll keep up a good speed, and it'll prevent the highest score guy from ever getting more score. So that might be an option. So this is the option right here. Run in circle. We don't want to do that. We want to... No, I pressed the wrong key. Instead, we want to do chase leader. Chase leader Reaper. And we have the scores. Where are the scores coming from? They're in here somewhere. This is such an awful, awful format here. Enemy score 1, enemy score 2. Okay. That's fine. We have 2 scores. So we have, say, let leader equals enemy score 1. We're going to have to track their leaders as well, too. Greater than enemy score 2. Then we need enemy Reaper for 1, otherwise enemy... This is so wrong to put the 1 at the end. Because it's enemy 1 Reaper, enemy 2 Reaper. And let's just let them like do this. Follow that. Leader dot position dot 0. I'm gonna put this on next time. Leader dot position dot 1. And so we have to create the Reapers for the other guys. Enemy Reaper 1, and I want to clean this all up afterwards. I want to see if we can get far enough on this one with the crappy code, and then just we'll clean it up in the second one, because this gets really messy here to break it up with. And else if unit.player_id equals 1 and unit.unit_type equals unit_type Reaper, then we say enemy Reaper 1 equals unit Do the same thing for unit 2. This is getting really bad. Of course, you don't want to do this very often in code. And we're just going to do it this way. And see if we actually get any progress with that. These hand-coded strategies are not really so good. I'd say as we get advanced, we're going to have to make them actually do some advanced, not advanced knowledge, but their own AI. 232. What's wrong with 232? Because there is no question colon operator. Yeah, there's no turning. We use the if else. I'm fine with that. I just keep making the same mistake. $232. We still have an issue. I spelled something wrong. Enemy Reaper. Let's see what happens. Come on, do something. Okay. So I now follow the guy with the highest score. I don't know if it really helps, but you can see him clearly chasing a guy with the higher score. Don't really know if it's helpful. We're not getting a lot of water this time. I have a feeling we're actually helping them out more than we're hindering them. We're just kind of getting lucky when we get water. I think our bomber guy is actually making it worse. There's something we're missing here. If false and because I think we're actually doing better without that. Because our rank is not improving. If we look at the last battles, we're at rank 56, and there's no way we're going to get high enough. Yeah, my destroyer is basically doing nothing. I'm not worried about being useless, I'm just worried about it actually making it worse for me. Yeah, but if I break tankers, the other people will get to go. We'll get more water as well. I don't know how random these are, but I'm performing better without the destroyer actually doing anything. Well, we can make the destroyer run interference as well. So we can do this instead. Let's just make him run interference. And just switch guys. We'll make him go to the loser. Although we should just pick one. Since they're not doing much, we'll just run interference on them. And I have a fear that this one here, while I shoot the Reaper, it's not actually doing it correctly. Come on. Loser. So we're all chasing somebody. Just creating a mess. I'm getting no water whatsoever in this approach. So this is not working out any better as well. We're not going up in the leaderboard. Like, these attempts to be clever are actually making it worse. So let's just make him go to the first guy. Actually, let's just make him do more chaos. Let's let him destroy stuff as well. We'll go to the leaners and we'll just make him bounce stuff around. The dove can just keep running around. He's collecting stuff. We're going to destroy things, and this just adds to the chaos, and the chaos makes it really hard for my guy to get actually any water. I have to call it a day soon. Yeah, I was going to make my Reaper go to the middle, or I should probably go to the tanker with the most water, or just sit in the middle. I got lucky there. Yeah, so really, if the tanker does nothing, instead of making him wait, we should just make him go back to 0 at top speed. Like, just go back to 0 to make him get there. So at least he's always in a better position to get to the water. I mean, it would help a lot if I actually fixed his throttling not to go over it anymore. Right, like, we haven't actually done the calculation yet of getting him not to run around the water like an idiot as well. But the strategy of taking him back to the middle seems to really help, at least. So let's tweak that a little bit. So if he's actually close enough to the water, yeah, I want to see if he's close enough to the water. Let's just throttle it down a little bit. We already have the speed. He has velocity. I'm trying to think if he's closest. Rex closest. And I'm just going to do this cheaply too. Now, why would that be efficient? That's what I'm trying to think of. Why? I think I understand, because we haven't accounted for his current speed. And this is what I was saying about the direction before, is that when I say go to this position, it then calculates the acceleration vector and does it that way. I'm going to calculate distance to the wreck first, and we have a min or something here. Yeah, I get that. I'm going to take the minimum of the distance instead. Do that. And you also said, so let x equal wherever it is. Minus, where's our velocity? Our reaper speed should be velocity. Y equals rect dot position dot 1 minus our reaper dot speed dot 1. And let's do x, y, and throttle. See if this gets us there a little bit better. I keep making the same mistakes, spelling something wrong. It's our reaper. Not out reaper, it's our reaper. I should probably simplify the name. Min. Did you mean I probably meant use standard comp min? Yes, of course I meant that. Use standard comp min. Okay, what am I comparing? What? That makes no sense. This would imply there's no ordering to F64, and I have a hard time believing that, so what did we do wrong? Distance is F64, this is F64. Huh? Why is F64 not orderable? Let me do it this way first. 300 F64. If distance is less than throttle, distance. Why is there no order on floats? I don't understand that. Yeah, but that makes no sense because I can do the less than. Where is this? 205. Because this distance, I'm doing the exact same thing here as the min operation should. So that to me makes no sense. I don't understand it, but it's okay. I don't even remember what we changed now. But our car is not going fast enough towards them, so we have something wrong with her. It's collecting no water. Just give up on that. I'm going to put this back to just rect position because it might be interfering with the throttle, or I'm going to take the throttle off as well and see what happens. One of them has to go. The turnaround time is just so low. I'm having a hard time getting any water this time. But he does sit on it when he finds it, kind of. Uh-oh, I broke. Where'd I break? This isn't helpful. I guess I'm yellow. No, it's the throttle. Distance. Out. Okay, just math floor this. Maybe a floor. Spit this out. And just to force this, we're just going to do as I-32. Yeah, but there's no reason why min shouldn't use partial order as well. I mean, okay, if or's not implemented, fine, but less than doesn't. If or's not implemented, less than should use the exact same thing. Because min operation is implemented using less than. I mean, it doesn't have to be implemented any other way. Either less than or greater than. I'll take that one off to the users group. Maybe somebody has an answer for it. Why can't I do min on floats? Okay, obviously we know the real answer, why, because order isn't implemented, but... Alright, let's see how we're doing. As long as we don't break this time. We were collecting water last time, that's okay. Water goes fast. I seem to be collecting water well enough, though. But I'm just creating havoc on the rest of it. It's like really hard to watch this and decide if you're doing something intelligent or not. Like my car just jumps somewhere sometimes. I did poorly, but I'm going to submit this one anyways because I think I'm almost done. Yeah, I mean, there is imprecision issues, but the thing is that less than is implemented, and even with imprecision issues, you have a minimum value. Are we doing any better than last time? No. Oh, we have 4 more wins now. Will that keep up? Some losses, some more wins. It might turn out okay for us. We just have to sort of see where we go on the leaderboard. And I just look for rust. We're going up. We're starting at 52, which is already higher than we were at the maximum last time. So I think this will be my last run of this one, though. If I got it, it'd be a great way to end the show. And we do appear to be doing a little bit better. And I'd love to see us do a lot better. I can understand a lot of reasons for precision, and I mean, I work quite often with floating point precision, and you can make arguments about precision, but the thing is that as long as min is doing the exact same thing this code does, there's really no value in not defining min. All it does is make my code blotchy. Because when I work with floating point, I need minimum value very, very often. It's not like it's something that's rare in floating point. I actually use minimum and maximum quite often when doing calculations because it does just come up. And so I would expect it to work. And so I know we're only getting sort of second-hand information here if you're looking quickly, but I can follow up in the user group too, and I'd really like to understand this one. Obviously somebody had a reason for making it not work, and so I'd really like to understand that reason, and to understand that what does min do that would make it not valuable as opposed to dist less than, as opposed to less than, why that would make a big difference. And so I'll find that one out, but okay, let's check in again. Are we anywhere? Leaderboard. You have to get really high in this leaderboard though to... Oh, we're already at 17.58. If we keep going up, we should be okay. These are random, and I think these are just counting wins, or win versus loss rate. 18. We're going up fast now. Okay. That'd be good if this trend continues. Are we getting lucky? 19.1. We're doing really well. We have a lot of battles to go, but our win rate seems to be pretty good. 19.01. Like we're heading out of this league fairly fast. I think that's a good sign. There we are. We're right at the top now. Oh, I hope we can stay there because I'd really like to end the evening that way. Rather than losing, ending with a win would be very good. But I'm supposing our next league is going to be really hard. Because there's going to be people, obviously everybody that succeeds in this league. But we keep going up. So I think, what did we really change? We're just running interference. We're not really being smart. We're just running interference. We don't smash any water tankers. We don't do any optimization for that. How long do we have to wait? We're supposed to be... It says 152. I'm already above that. But you have to reach 100%, I guess. Battles 42%. No, don't go down. That's bad. I want to go back up. Up. And this is looking good. We have a lot of battles left to run. I'm going to copy this code over. We have this over the mean max. And I looked into getting the external editor working, but it doesn't work in Firefox. And I actually don't really like browsing with Chrome, so I'm going to stick to Firefox and use the internal editor for now. So we are rank 1. We're going to stay up there. What I'd like to do, though, is start cleaning up this code. And this stuff here is like, this is really ugly. We can split it off, or we can just simply in the main we parse and then do it in some other code to do that. But we should clean up nReaper 1. We can just make a list of Reapers from 0 to 2. Same with the Destroyers and Deuce. We should keep track of theirs as well. We should have all those information, so we should build a full state. And that's what I never did. We haven't built our state yet. We don't need this dummy implementation. That's fine. Let's check this out. Do we get any further? We're 21. Uh-oh. And on the mouse is coming with us, it looks like. They've reached the angry max as well, but they're risky. They're going to be still quite close. But they don't have any percentage cover. Maybe it just doesn't show for other people. Or it just doesn't show for other people, I think. So our rates is looking pretty good. We win a lot more than we lose. Yeah, we're doing really good there. We won a lot of those. You pushed him to the bronze. Oh, he's gone. He's to the bronze league now. How did I do it? I'm happy that he made it. So it looks like we'll make it too, and unless something goes horribly wrong. Our algorithm was okay, but this is not like super awesome here. But I'm trying to think algorithm-wise. This is going to be really difficult to do because we really have you have a lot of random nonsense here happening. Like so much interference is that going to be that super optimization problem? Is it an optimization, or do we actually have to start guessing what the other players are doing? Is there like some sort of poker aspect to this that says, well, these players are doing even more? Do we have to figure out what they're doing with their pieces? Probably at the top league. And as we go up in the ranks, do we play people higher in the ranks? Or do we just stick with random opponents? I don't know that either. I think I should look this one up. Do we keep going back to random opponents, or do we actually get higher up? But we'll see where it gets. We're almost at percent. This is going to be the last one. This is going to be all I do for today. Tomorrow I'll be back, and I think we'll keep working on this. We'll fix up this code. I'll make it cleaner first. We'll clean up the code a bit first, make it a lot nicer, because I think we're going to need this, because I'm going to have to start doing a lot more strategy in this. Then we'll do the optimal moving pattern for our Reaper to go right to the center of the water, and we'll make these sub-functions to calculate this. And then maybe we can think about choosing a different approach, not just going to the one with the closest water, but the one that has the most water in it. That probably makes more sense. Not the one that's closest, but the puddle with the most water. I'm assuming we actually have that. The wreck has a total amount of water. And then we'll see if that helps any at all. We're pretty stuck at this point here. We're better than the boss. So good. We're promoted to the Bronze League. We will be promoted to the Bronze League. I don't know when. It says when. It gives the current time. It's really weird. So it gives us the current time. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. Anytime there's wrecks overlapping, because I think we get a water from each one, these overlapping wrecks have an incredible amount of energy, more than the other ones. So we got some 50 XP, so we have some. The Reaper can spawn a tar pool, and the Dove can spawn an oil pool. Okay, this is going to get more strategy. The tar pool of the Reaper increases the mass of all units and prevents the tanker's destruction. Alright. We'll get to that tomorrow, but we got up the league, so let's head out back here to my player. We copied it out already. I'm going to go back to the lobby. Back. Hello. Back. Well, the easiest way to go back to the lobby is to just go this way, I guess. And that increased our rank here in the competition, I think, quite a bit. I don't know why. Our XP goes up very slowly, because we were at 18,000 before. And we're a crafter, even though we're not in the crafter. There we go. And it goes down over time. Well, that's weird. I'll have to ask what that means. I don't know what that means. Why would my coding game points go down over time? And then they went up a lot here. So I did something wrong, just losing global points. Unless it's just a daily decay thing. That's decaying quite fast, though, if I have come in only once a week. Clash of Code and multiplayer. I'm in top 4%. Okay, so most players probably don't play it. That's probably the most reason. Coding game rank, yeah, again, thing. I guess most players don't play it. They should probably say of active players. And we have a contest next month, I guess, in March. But this will be all for me today. I thank you very much for watching again. We solved that one. We're going to keep doing the same one tomorrow. I think it's a bit more fun, and I want to learn a bit more Rust through it. So we're going to structure it properly, not just keep packing around, because we also need to do more with the code and more structure to it. But then tomorrow night, either at 10 or 11, if I can get started at 10, I'd be happy to start. It's Clash of Code points only who decay. Okay. Good. Then tomorrow, either at 10 or 11, if I can get started earlier, I will. Otherwise, it'll be 11 again. And we'll keep working on this one to see if we can get anywhere in the Bronze League. And Again, if you're new to the show, be sure to follow me, subscribe, all that jazz, and I'll see you tomorrow night then. Thank you very much.